I'm Charlisa Harris, and I'm the mother of a 6th grade student here at Floyd Light Middle School.
I'm Jazzy Griffin, and I'm an instructional assistant at Floyd Light Middle School.
Hello, my name is Henri. I am a music teacher at Floyd Light Middle School.
Dina Nguyen, Vice Principal at Floyd Light Middle School.
My name's Sadie Perez, and I'm an 8th grader.
I'm Doug Pease, proud principal of Floyd Light Middle School.
And I'm Sonia Knoll, and I have a 7th grader here at Floyd Light Middle School.
How connected do you feel to staff and teachers at Floyd Light?
Extremely connected. Yeah, I feel like it's been just a very welcoming experience. Even the teachers that don't necessarily have my son in their class, they seem just very welcoming and very inviting. So.
This year coming in, I feel really more connected more than I did with my first middle schooler. He had struggles and behaviors that brought me to the attention of all the staff here at Floyd Light. But with my 7th grader, I feel that there's more of a staff connection, as in more staff are reaching out to connect with families.
I think it depends on which teachers and which staff, because I think to a couple staff members I do feel really connected to, because I'm more comfortable speaking to staff than my teachers. Like, I think I have 2 specifically. I think staff members can be a little more understanding than my teachers, because I can be more open with them.
Okay. What does equity mean to you?
Equity means to me making sure that all of my students have a fair shot at success, even if that means I have to prioritize which students gets, I guess, like help or one-on-one and stuff like that.
Equity is a form of equality, and it also just means equal rights for each and every one of us. And so that also includes accessibility. It includes different forms of access, and just making sure that each individual has the same form of access to anything like education, for example, or as a music teacher, each individual, each student has access to performances and to different genres of music, and to teaching, to teachers, and to schools and whatnot. So that's what equality means to me.
Overall, how much do you feel like you belong at our school?
Overall, I feel it is a 50-50. There's a lot of diversity I feel that's missing within certain culture gatherings and things of that nature, to bring more camaraderie between parents and staff.
Okay.
I very much feel like I belong. I think it's been a very common thing, especially with us relocating to the state of Oregon, that I always, will note that this is the first time that race has seemed to be an issue sometimes in certain settings. And so it's been very refreshing that, at least in this atmosphere, it doesn't seem to be the precedence. It seems very inviting.
I feel like I do belong at Floyd Light, because I've felt a lot more accepted in this school this year compared to last year, because last year I did have a couple incidents, I guess, with staff members that sometimes did make me feel a little bit unwelcomed, and I know other students of color also felt the same way, but this year I think it's been a lot better.
I think the main thing for me is just being understanding that majority of our student population come from serious backgrounds, and that a lot of them go home to a lot adult stuff that I don't go home to, or some of the teachers don't go home to. So just being understanding in the fact that sometimes school is their only escape or chance to be a kid.
seeing that I am an African-American male, there has been some challenges throughout my journey. And so I think one major practice is bringing forward heroes that I saw overcome throughout their past, and that allows me to then pass on the message of saying, this is what history looked like, this is where we are, and in order to move forward, this is what we must do. And so I think that practices of introducing different artists, introducing different types of music, introducing different styles of teaching, making sure that some teaching, if students have a hard time hearing music, I strive to make music more hands-on. I strive to make music both auditory, hands-on, and very visual as well. So students are experiencing access, a different form of access and learning through that lens.
How confident are you that adults at your student school can have honest conversations with each other about race?
Very confident. I think it's such a diverse, not only staff, but student body here. So it feels like it wouldn't necessarily be an uncomfortable conversation to have.
And have you seen any of these conversations occurring or heard them at home?
Yeah, well, we definitely, have the racial conversation at home, just in regards to him being a little older and realizing how he may be viewed in society as, an African-American male. So the conversation definitely does start at home, but he did have his, first experience of, I think, maybe having a negative experience with, using, along the lines of a racial slur here. And I was actually really pleased with the way that it was handled by the administrators. It was, a bit of a jarring experience for him, but it was something that seemed to have been handled by the time that he got home, that he was able to have a positive conversation about it, because it wasn't, it didn't seem like it traumatized him in any type of way. And I think that's really important,
I think that some staff members don't feel like race is a topic that they want to speak on. I think they think it's kind of scary to talk about it, because they think it can be bad saying things, even though it's not bad to talk about race. But I think some staff members don't like to.
What does a race-affirming school environment look like to you?
Having students who are a different color, different race, and different backgrounds, having the liberty to celebrate who they are in spite of anything that might be different or odd, or on top of that, gender equality as well. I think that's really important when we talk about equity and inclusivity, that we not only include race, but gender as well. And so what that kind of looks like is just the ability for me as a teacher to get up and feel, welcomed in the classroom, and feel like I can give 100% of myself and not have to police myself in any way. That I'm trained and have the tools to give to my community, as well as students who are different races, having the liberty to be themselves and to learn and to receive at the same time.
Including all of our cultures, how Floyd Light, they allow some of the Muslim girls to pray, and we have a lot of posters and stuff just about different cultures and different races, our holiday hallway area over there. So just including everyone, I can see myself on posters. It's not just white.
Mm-hmm. And can you elaborate more on the bulletin board? Because you have a big part of the bulletin board.
Yes. Yeah. So just for me, it's just making sure every month, whether it's Native American or Pacific Islander, or just making sure everyone's highlighted every month, so no one's feeling left out, whether their culture or their background's not being represented in their school. So that's what I'm working on, is just so it's everywhere.
Yeah, and continuously. So much appreciated. And I love those boards.
Thank you.
And it makes the school feel welcoming and open. So I do like that too.
How often do you think about what students or families of different races, ethnicities, or cultures experience?
I think about it all the time. I think about it often because there's such a diverse at this school. And coming from the elementary for my daughter, there was a lot of diversity. And so there were a lot of ways that cultures were brought together, being multicultural night, things like that, to display different backgrounds of different diverse families and cultures. And I don't see it a lot here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's not something that we're able to ignore being a person of color, especially in today's racial climate. So, it's definitely something that is on my mind with, the way that we interact, with the way that we just exist in this country. So it's not something that we have the privilege to be able to ignore. So I do think that it's at the forefront every single day.
I know that myself and other students of color have experienced things that have hurt us in this school, specifically by other students though, not really by staff members, but I do feel like there is a lot of students that don't understand that other students of color, they struggle a lot with feeling accepted, and other students just don't understand that.
How often do school leaders encourage you to teach about people from different races, ethnicities, or cultures?
This is my first year of teaching, and I actually have not been encouraged within my school. I would say I've been encouraged outside of the district to teach whatever, but as far as being affirmed within my own school, I haven't really experienced much affirmation in that regard.
Do you feel like you are unable to? Like, do you need to hear it from the school leaders?
I don't think that I'm unable to. I think that my ability to assert culture and to practice those things are innate because of who I am and my journey of music and my journey of education. However, I think it is implied. Therefore, we kind of have failed in that way, because anytime that we assume that someone feels empowered to do a thing, then it just kind of leaves some things up in the air for possibility.
Mm-hmm. And you feel like you have to fit into a certain kind of role as a male teacher of color, and like what you bring to school?
I would say there's a certain teaching voice that you sometimes have to put on and a culture within teaching. And so I try to make sure that I preserve that space of authority for what kids are used to. And then I also have moments of real authentic, moments of saying, hey guys, I am human too. This is a journey. This is a practice that we're all, on this journey together. And as we learn and as we discover, as we workshop all these different ideas, we'll see what fits best for you and fits best for me. And I tell them that the real sign of an educator is to say if you are wrong or not. To say, I don't know something, but I will find out the thing and I will transfer that information to you.
Mm-hmm. And then how about their experiences at school?
Regarding their experiences at school, very highly. I think about it all the time. And that is partly the reason why I'm here, It's not, I am a music teacher. However, if some kids don't walk away with anything, the hope is that they feel seen and heard, and they receive the message of music, and that they are somebody, that they are capable, and that they are lovable, and that they're teachable. Therefore, they have the ability to learn, right? And so if I've done that plant seeding, then I know that I've done enough as an educator.
And what you just said there is your right that you have the students share out every period.
Yes. So I have all of my students share a mantra every day before and as they leave the class. And that mantra is, I am somebody. I'm capable, I'm lovable, I am teachable. Therefore, I can learn. I can do anything I try. I will respect myself and others. I will be the best that I can be each day. I will not waste time because I'm too valuable, precious, and bright. I am somebody. And so oftentimes I have the students say it nice and loud, but as of the last week or so, I've made a practice for the students to quiet themselves and to internally say it within. And I tell them, you know, after this year or the following year, and as you get into college, this conversation of empowerment may stop. This may be the last time that someone tells you that you are somebody, that you are capable, that you're loved, that you can do absolutely anything. And so I think in that way, as I see students who are underserved or underprivileged, that this is the time that they feel seen. If they're not seen by anybody else, that they're seen by me, and not, they have a voice and they're able to use that voice and know that they're being heard as well.
Okay. How often do you think about what colleagues or students of different race, ethnicities, or cultures experience? Do you think about their school experience?
I mean, I think about it very often. Just like I said in the beginning, just being with my students and hearing like the struggles they like face outside of school and then coming into school, and like knowing that they're still facing those struggles, and maybe not every teacher is susceptible or can get their mind wrapped around that there are kids like really, really struggling in life, and maybe that's why they're acting a certain way in class. So I think about it all the time. Like, I want school experience to be positive, and especially for like my minority students, like I push that all the time. Like, it should be a fun experience.
Yeah, I agree. And I see that that's what you voice, and that's through your actions too, and it's visible. At Floyd Light, how often are you or your student encouraged to think more deeply about race-related topics?
I would say that it's fairly often. Dalen seems to be extremely aware of, you know, racial issues and just differences, and, you know, just anything in that's pertaining to race. So I do feel like he is, he's you know, invited to have that conversation when necessary. He just seems to get it.
And has he ever talked about it? Like, is it talked about in the classrooms, aligning with curriculum or instruction at all?
Not necessarily. I think that the thing that I'm most aware of is if it seems that he's having a hard time because of his race. And we haven't had, you know, any of those type of experiences. So I do think that it's just because he understands that he's welcomed, that he's received well, and that he is, you know, just not excluded in any type of way.
My child often thinks about race-related topics, especially during different events that come up different months for the culture, and the lack of communication about it or education about it throughout the classroom, that's displays throughout the school to encourage or show the pride for that culture.
We're not really encouraged to think about it deeply. I think teachers and staff members touch on it lightly, but they don't really like to get into racism or other things like that because they think that it's like a scary topic, even though I think it should be more normalized to talk about because it's not a bad thing.
How comfortable are you discussing race-related topics with your colleagues?
Oh, I'm very comfortable talking.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I will say what needs to be said, for sure.
Okay, and how does that show up in your building?
I mean, I feel like there's definitely been like uncomfortable conversations that have been had in like the last year or two. Just, I mean, for me personally, just like calling out like the subtle racism I see, and like just stuff like that, and like bringing it to my higher ups, like immediately so I can get it squashed and we're all on the same page. Like, that's how I see it at school personally.
Great. Well, because you and I haven't had any of those conversations yet.
Oh no, I had a lot.
like
No,
it.
I had a lot last year, but
No, so then I would like those conversations to occur too, because I think everyone can grow and learn more too.
Definitely.
It has to be brought up and be open for those conversations to occur. And how well does the school help you or your students speak out against racism?
You know, I honestly don't think that there has been any situations that we faced that he has been in the position to have to speak out against them.
And I feel like you've shared this, but like, is there anything else that we can do as a school to support Dalen in like his identity and who he is?
I think you guys have just done a really, really great job. I just think just in regards to how the setting is here, I don't think that there really is anything more that you guys can do. I think you guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. And then is there anything you want to add? Let us know.
I'm just happy that my son, of all the schools, that he ended up here.
Right. We love having him.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's my baby. So.
Yes, he's very sweet. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
All right.
I think the different teachers and the staff does give an outlet for students to speak out about racism. I think they give an open door that I feel that they can express themselves, that they can meet other staff, counselors, if they need to talk, to be a positive way to display how they feel as far as racism goes and if they've been affected by it.
Sonia, thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Pease.
Okay.
So you said a lot of like Floyd Light used to, and like, so what has changed, or what have you noticed, like, that you can speak up, or how Floyd Light can make these changes, right?
Well, last year, to me, there was some specific staff members that were really like harsh and not understanding, most of all, with students of color, and they didn't really think about it, about how they were speaking or their actions. And some of those staff members don't like work here, I guess. And that has made it better to like be able to talk about, because the staff members that we had, they had a lot of control over the school. So if you were gonna go to complain to one or tell them something, if they were the problem, then it was a lot harder to be able to feel comfortable on speaking on it.
Do you feel like now you have a stronger impact and a opportunity to have student voice to share your concerns and opinions?
I do, because now I feel really comfortable talking to you, for example, and you're the vice principal, so you also have a lot of control over stuff that happens in the school, and especially with you being a woman and a person of color. It helps a lot to be more comfortable to talk to someone.
Okay. So how would you like to see Floyd Light change more to help and make us aware of our students of color and equity and race and ethnicities, like being aware? Like, how should Floyd Light change? What's your ideal Floyd Light community?
I think that Floyd Light is good. It's like a lot better than most schools at understanding the students' issues with race and their problems. But I feel that speaking about it more comfortably and not being like most teachers are scared of the topic. So I feel if the teachers aren't as scared, then the students would be more comfortable in speaking on it.
Great. Is there anything else you want to share with us outside of these questions?
Douglas is doing a phenomenal job in his equity work. I think we have a long way to go. I think we have a great start because it has individuals like myself who haven't been with the school district for very long. This is my first year, and hopefully I'll be able to come back because I'm interim for another teacher right now for the next year, but I think that we have a long way to go, and I think we've come a really long way simultaneously. And so I look forward to seeing where we go in the next 10 years, where we'll end up in the next 20 years. And I'm interested to see what the students will experience in the future within the school district solely.
Thank you, and I just want to tell you, you say that you're a music teacher. You're not only defined as a music teacher. You're honorary, and you carry this era around you. Like, we enjoy you, and as an individual and as professional educators.
Oh,
so just know that. Okay?
That means a lot. Thank you.
Dina Wang, I believe in equity.
My name is Henri, and I believe in equity.